Today I'm going to spotlight the Seattle Seahawks, who I will put in. I'm going to say they'll probably win between 7 to 10 games and more than likely finish second in the division in front of Arizona but behind San Francisco. And actually, I'm still not sure if Arizona will even finish in front of St. Louis. I'm going to say they will just because there are too many questions on St. Louis, but they are a young team, and I think within the next 5 years, they'll start slowly taking over the division. But for now, Seattle is a sleeper, possibly a wild card sleeper, though I highly doubt they'll get into the playoffs unless they win the division, which I highly doubt they'll be able to do. San Francisco still scares me. As long as they've got a dominating defense led by Patrick Willis, they've still got Frank Gore and 3 other running backs that they can still lean on to take pressure off of Alex Smith, who has actually played pretty decently of late and now has a lot more weapons to throw to. San Francisco will still dominate. But Seattle Seahawks has made a lot of good moves. Marshawn Lynch, we've seen him over the past couple of years. He's shown flashes of that beast mode. And I think if the offensive line can play consistently and give him more open lanes to go through, I think the running game will do well enough. And especially now with Matt Flynn there, I think if he's the starter, Seattle at least has a fighting chance. Matt Flynn, we really don't know much about him, but he has shown flashes of brilliance, similar to those flashes of brilliance that we saw with Aaron Rodgers before he took over as the starter. And look at how his career has gone. Now, the Green Bay Packers actually have a good long history of turning backups into superstars. Brett Favre, one of his backups was Matt Hasselbeck, who ends up leading Seattle to a Super Bowl, even though they didn't win it because of the officials. And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers, who, we'll cut him a little more slack because he was a first-round draft pick anyways, but still, playing behind Brett Favre for a few years, and now suddenly he's the best quarterback in the league. We'll see what Matt Flynn learned playing a backup to him. But I think he could do well enough. At least, I think he'll do better than the other options they have right now. First of all, I'm going to just knock the rookie out of contention. They say he's in the fight, but I honestly don't believe that they would start him unless he's just that awesome. And I'm talking like Peyton Manning level awesome, which I don't think he'll achieve quite yet. Who knows? He could have a future. But right now, I think this year it's definitely got to be Flynn because Travaris Jackson, I think Travaris has had plenty of opportunities to prove he can be elite, and he's always fallen short. I don't think he has what it takes to. He's got talent, but he's just not capable of being a leader on the NFL level. And I think he's better suited to be a career backup. And I fully expect Matt Flynn to take over and lead this offense and lead this passing attack. Which, in case you hadn't noticed, they've been putting a lot of receivers in and out. They had Antonio Bryant, who they cut. They cut Mike Williams, which I don't think anyone was really shocked about. And they just added Terrell Owens, who, yes, there are a lot of pitfalls. He might not even make it through preseason. He's 38 years old. He's been out of the league for a year. He's been battling injuries. And, of course, he's always had off-the-field issues. But at the same time, he is Terrell Owens. You cannot deny he does have talent. There is a potential for him, maybe not to be a number 1 receiver in the league ever again just because of the age and the injuries, but he can be a contributor who can possibly just help push the Seattle over the top. He can give them, at the very least, a good possession receiver. I mean, let's not forget that he's had a decent career at the very least. He is second in basically every career receiving category. And that's just talking about the offense. Let's talk about the defense. Seattle really hasn't made too many changes to their defense, but their defense last season was actually very underrated. They had a very stingy front line, and I think they can really. I think they have a talent base. They can really surprise a few people this season. And like I said, I think best case scenario, 10-6, just barely missing the playoffs, finishing second in the division behind San Francisco. But I think worst case scenario, I think they'd still get 5 or 6 wins, just barely falling short of 500, and still at least at least this season, having a better understanding of what they have on their roster and where they're going, so that the next year they'd be able to do even better. Because right now, the main reason I don't choose them to make the playoffs at all is because there's just too many question marks about the organization and about how everything's working. Other than that, it's a very talented group, and I look forward to seeing how they can produce this season.